Yes.
Is that iPhone 1.5?
That's an iPod Pro. I mean,
You guys are all having a good time?
Let's go.
What up, squad? We live. We doing a debate. We up here at lunch. Y'all gonna say what's up? Oh, okay. We miming. We just miming. We just miming. This is John Scarlett. What we talking about today, sir?
What is it? Oh, is the culture done with Kanye West?
Is the culture done with Kanye West? Let me type it in. Go ahead and start.
All right, look, absolutely. I speak for the culture. You know what I'm saying? So,
A culture
look,
of what?
I as a black man was highly offended by what Kanye said. I feel like we give him passes. I understand he's a free spirit, he's a free thinker, he can think what he wants, I get that. But when you start saying things that are disrespectful to people's deceased relatives, I feel like you've gone too far. Somebody needs to reel you in, and I personally won't spend any of my money to ever support that again. I just can't. It's just too much.
what does a free thinker even mean?
I don't even know.
Aren't we all free thinkers?
Yeah.
Does it mean you think against the status quo?
I think he's trying so hard to be a free thinker that now he's like, instead of being free, he's like, I'm gonna just do the opposite of what everybody else
He doesn't know what he means by free
But
thinker.
his
He's just saying
he
he doesn't know what he means by free thinker. He just like everything else.
I think he means I'm not thinking like everybody else thinks I should think.
No, Kanye does this. He's mistaken being a free thinker with just having free thought. Like, he's like, whatever comes to my mind, I'm gonna say it, right? But that's not free thinking. Free thinking is you're not like held down to one particular opinion. You're willing to listen to other sides. You're willing to take in other opinions and perceptions. That's not saying like, I'm gonna just say the first thing that comes to my head. That's not free thinking.
I think the problem with Kanye is he's out of every artist in history, no one's ever been as obsessed with being different. Like since the very beginning, with the pink polos till now, Kanye West has an obsession with being the one guy that is radically different, and that's
why he does 808 and Heartbreaks when everybody's rapping this way,
right?
And he does Jesus when everybody. But now his obsession with being different is being overshadowed by his obsession to be liked.
Right.
And his obsession to be his likability facctor has not recovered. Right. Yeah. So now he's like
still there though.
Right.
Kanye, he still.
But he was
Universal Charlemagne interview. It starts off with him saying like, I literally went crazy because people didn't like me as much as they used to. Like he's like Drake. He's like with the radio play. He's like Drake's outplaying me, Kendrick's outplaying me, and I'm literally busting my ass and doing everything that I think I'm supposed to be doing, and people ain't vibing with me as much as they used to. He's having a problem.
Like
also in some ways,
when you decide that fame is more important to you than your craft, then you become Kanye and you have problems, because nobody that's excellent is out here like, well, why isn't my song getting played on the radio? Right. Just keep pumping them out. Like you'll get what you deserve because you're just excellent at what you do. Other people will see your excellence. You don't have to sit here and be like, somebody look how excellent I am. My music is really good.
Always just a super narcissistic person. Like
he's
always needed validation.
But he keeps upping the ante on the fuck shit he'll say, and that where it becomes a problem. I feel like at this climate of where the world is right now, the easiest thing to do is just be like, oh, I support Trump. Like, okay, that's cool. I'm not gonna say you can't.
What do you mean by the easiest thing?
Because it's easy to push people's buttons. Easy to be different, to push people's buttons.
You know what it is? I think the thing that makes the most sense about him supporting Trump is when he said in the Charlemagne interview, Obama was saying he was perfect, Trump's not like. I think Kanye sees the dislike for him in Trump, and the fact that he could make it is more representative of Kanye.
Right. He sees Trump as he sees Trump as a thing.
Yes.
As a brand.
Exactly what T.I. said.
Exactly what T.I. said.
In T.I. interview,
but the thing is, Kanye's acting like Trump's policies are like ridiculous.
He said that's the one thing. T.I. said in the interview, he's too disconnected. He was like, he looks at Trump as a thing, right? He's like, Kanye's like, I admire Trump because he went from nothing, even though he didn't, but he went from nothing and became president of the United States, right? And then in terms of politics, he went from nothing and became president of the United States. And Kanye admires that aspect because Kanye's like, don't tell me what I can't do, right? But what he's not taking into account is A, how Trump got there, B, the context of it. He's not taking into account the fact that the election was either actually rigged by a foreign power. He's not taking into account that how Trump like capitalized off of white supremacy, and he's not taking into account Trump's actual policies. Like, he doesn't understand any of that. All he sees is like something. It's like a cat with a bell. Like, all he sees is something really shiny that he wants to play with.
And this is what Van Lathan said from TMZ that made a lot of sense. Supporting Trump is supporting Trump's policies, whether Kanye agrees with that or not. And Trump will have a policy like stop and frisk. To people who are rich and disconnected, stop and frisk makes sense. Hey, if you're a criminal, stop
I
them,
want you
frisk
away
them,
from me.
right? But what happens in actuality is cops tend to stop and frisk people of color, minorities, way more, and minorities' interaction with the cops are more likely to end in arrest or violence than anybody else.
Right.
So those type of policies disproportionately affect people of color, and that's why it's like, Kanye, bro, what are you talking about?
We put
you
money
say
in your pockets.
Right, I helped you say that. Then you say this thing, and then Trump's like, yes, this is what I'm talking about, and somebody in New York gets arrested because of that policy that you don't even really know he's
And what
doing.
really hurts is that we feel like, because based on old Kanye music, we feel like Kanye should know that. Right? We feel like based on college dropout and late registration, stuff that he used to say, we feel like, oh, Kanye was woke, he should know that. But what we're not taking into account is that Kanye was 12, 15 years ago almost. You know what I mean? Like, so like that Kanye is kind of removed from the Pablo
do you know how
Kanye who
long
lives out in
ago-
Calabasas with the Kardashians.
George Bush doesn't like black people was two
presidents
presidents
ago.
ago.
Right.
And both presidents did 2 terms. That was a long time ago. That's like saying I'm the same person I was in... Bro, that's like saying I'm the same person I was in college. Like, I had no money, I wasn't married, I had no kids. Like, we're wanting Kanye to go back to a point of no return.
He was
Like,
also hanging around different people.
Bro,
You know,
bro,
culture back
listen to
then
this.
around
How much woke shit has Kanye said just on the last 3 albums?
None.
Like how many songs like Spaceships has he made?
It was all
Did he
right.
make
Why you
on
don't
Pablo,
focus on
Yeezus, or Watch the Throne? Really, Watch the Throne maybe had a couple, but that's because Jay-Z was there. You know what I mean? Like how many?
and Kanye admitted that he formulated a lot of his opinions and thoughts because Jay-Z was on the Watch the Throne album.
He said he was
that
doing justice to Jay-Z.
to justice to Jay-Z. So I don't even give him credit for that because Jay would have been like, okay, fam, we're not finna do none of that.
Exactly.
But hold on, but here's the difference. Here's the difference. You see Jay-Z and you see Beyonce. The people who work for them and work with them are family and friends they've known their entire lives.
Right.
There's a difference when you have people that'll call you on your stuff versus Kanye, who now has a
No
whole
friends,
new family,
no homies.
which is the Kardashians, who have always been on this. They're not regular people. They're privileged, they're disconnected, and they're not black, so they don't understand any type of a struggle. So then you've got this boy that's grown from the inner city of Chicago to now he's living in this whole. He wasn't suburb, but he understood. At least he understood the inner city of Chicago.
Right.
But now it's like he's with these people. He doesn't have anybody who's from the hood. He doesn't have anybody that was friends with him from back in
Doesn't
the
have a
day.
back mittens.
He doesn't have anybody who caught him on his
Only his
stuff.
mom called him. Only his mom called him.
Hold on. He's not grounded. So when you say something like this phrase drives me insane. What about black on black crime?
Oh.
What about
Oh, I
Chicago? Okay, this is why that phrase drives me insane. Well, aren't black people more likely to kill black people? Yes. But that's not untrue for any other race. You're more likely to kill people that are close to you, live close to you, whatever. But what created the crime in Chicago wasn't race. It was poverty. It was politics. It was lack of resources. If you can't go anywhere, you can't get a job, you can't get a school, you can't move out. They move a freeway over your neighborhood so people can't even come and patronize your businesses. And then they say you have nothing left but crime. Then they say, and now you're criminals. Well, you've taken every opportunity away from somebody to be criminal. Not to mention when the judicial system arrests a little black boy, he's not, oh, it was his first time, oh, he didn't know, oh, it's just kid being kid. Try him as an adult. Juvenile hall. Now the little jobs that you couldn't get with no record, you absolutely can't get with a record. So the only thing you can do is drugs and crime and violence. But then all you have to say is what's happening in Chicago. Kanye, you supposed to be from Chicago.
Like, he's taking a decades-old GOP talking point of like, well, what about black on black crime, and how you gonna talk about that before you talk about police brutality? Here's the thing: they're not mutually exclusive. You can say like, yes, black on black crime is an issue, but you can also say police brutality and police crime against minorities is equally as important of an issue that we need to solve.
And
Like,
the fact that he hasn't put his, like, think about it. At least Beyonce and Jay-Z have put a lot of money into Black Lives Matter because
And
these are the people that,
scholarships.
because these are the people that are promoting, like, helping to stop the violence in our community. He doesn't put money behind stopping violence in our
he's like a
community.
charity in Chicago or something.
No, but that's like to feed people. That's totally different. That's a homeless issue. I'm talking about stuff that affects people that look just like you. At least rich old Beyonce and Jay-Z understand that and they understand like, oh, we gotta still help with this. I'm sure they're not getting stopped and frisked, but they understand that people look like them get stopped and frisked all the time.
I want to say.
Calabasas is totally unconnected. He don't even participate in doing change or trying to motivate stuff that goes on in the city of Los Angeles where he lives 5 miles away from. Yeah, Calabasas ain't even in.
Give him a reference.
Here's one thing I want to say.
Give him a reference.
Say this one thing.
You should give him a reference where Calabasas
is okay. We're in downtown Los Angeles right now, and the hood, South Central, is maybe 15, 20 minutes from here.
Southeast.
It's
like 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm talking about like Inglewood. Your house is in Inglewood or South. Okay,
Central is one stop away.
10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes away. Okay, if I left from here right now to get to Calabasas, it's an hour and 45-minute drive. Okay, but here's what I want to say. Hold on. Kanye had this point on TMZ that really made me mad. Kanye said black people are always thinking about the past. Slavery was in the past. That doesn't affect the future. That is patently untrue. The thing about slavery that impacts black people even today, it's the criminalization of black men from slavery. If you've seen the documentary The 13, we went from slaves to criminals, and there's actually more black men in the prison system that were ever under the watch of slavery. So you go from, the media. I didn't even think about this till the documentary. You see black men paraded across your news screen in shackles all the time. Criminals, they're drug dealers, they're gang members, all that type of stuff. Then you have white people calling the police on them for existing.
Asking directions.
Jumping your car at 9:30, getting shot out for asking Starbucks. Going to Starbucks for 2 minutes, and then when the police get there, you get the Waffle House video. People have argued with customers in stores ever. You think remember the white lady? I was told by AppleCare she doesn't get drug on the ground and have her bra ripped off and thrown in. People don't even call the police on her, but that happens to black people all the time. There's countless stories of black men who are getting into their own house. It just happened today. Get into his own house, people call the police on them, and that doesn't end well. Stephon Clark, the neighbor heard breaking glass sound. That sound, just the sound of breaking glass in Stephon Clark getting shot to death. Just the sound. And that's because people are afraid of black people, and that's because slavery led to crime, led to the fear of black people, the fear of black skin, the weaponization of black skin. That's why Mike Brown is, white. Tamir Rice, who's a child holding a toy gun, the police pull up and shoot him dead before 3 seconds happen.
But if you're a white boy, with holding the same gun,
yes,
police aren't gonna
when you're a white man, when you're 30, they still be like, oh, he's just a kid. 30 years old. They're talking about Jared Kushner's just a kid. He's 35. What are you talking about?
Or even the kid from Yale that raped the girl. And the judge literally was like, he's got Brock. The judge literally goes, well, I don't want to be too hard on him. He's got his whole life ahead of him.
They made up a whole what do they call it? He was privileged. Yeah. So what is that? What do they call it? It was like a certain term they made up for a privileged student, so that they don't grow up knowing what they should know.
Oh yeah.
Shelter, like right and wrong.
No, it's a term for it.
It's a kid that ran over that.
The joyriding kid who ran over the people.
Yeah,
he didn't understand punishment and responsibility.
Affluenza.
I feel like we're
Affluenza.
Wait. Why can't I just say? I can say the same thing. Like that's so unfair because I could be like, well, I was sheltered because I was poor and I grew up in the hood and I didn't know anything outside of my block.
You could
what
say
is
that
the difference between saying I grew up in the hood on my block and I don't know the difference versus I grew up in my mansion on my immaculate street and I've never left? Like why are they two different things?
But let me to bring it back to because we can go off on that for a day. But this is the question: is Kanye's comments about slavery enough to make the culture stop rocking with them? Because I feel like it's just so. I feel like there's got to be a level. There's got to be a wall where it's just like, okay, enough, bruh.
Here's what I think. I think T.I. in his interview with the Breakfast Club, he said it the best that like Kanye is so disconnected, and he is a very like existential person where like he's a musical genius, so like he thinks differently than normal people do, right? So like T.I. said it best that like someone like Kanye who's trying to like like articulate these very nuanced ideas and arguments, he literally needs somebody right next to him to like translate that shit. Like he literally needs someone to be like, every time he says something crazy, to be like, oh, okay. So what he meant to say was, what he's trying to say is like, even with the slavery comment, right? Like, and by the way, TMZ kind of fucked him over with that because TMZ edited that shit a specific way. But even with the slavery comment, when he's like, slavery's a choice, like what he was trying to say, and he tried to clean up on Twitter, is that like the idea of slavery, right, has to be like you were saying, has to be it was ingrained in the culture to mentally oppress the slaves, so that a population as big as the slave population was is not motivated to uprise, right? So like, but he doesn't articulate that correctly. So all he says is slavery was a choice, right?
But that's why I feel like I'm at my wit's end with Kanye, because I'm like, bro, you've been famous for 15 years. How do you not have enough media training to know that they're probably gonna take this clip and spin it on you?
Okay, well,
so maybe you just shouldn't say that. You know what I'm saying? Because it didn't need to be
That's
said.
a fantastic point. I don't care if you're media trained or not. Right. You know how TMZ works.
Yeah.
You know TMZ is.
I said that yesterday. He shouldn't have gone on TMZ.
You know
the Charlamagne interview made him sound very coherent.
Right.
And at least he still sounded crazy in the Charlamagne interview, but at least he sounded like
toned down.
He was toned down, and you knew where he was going. Like obviously, he still sounded very narcissistic, and I was like, why are you worrying so much about French designers? Like Kanye's idea of oppression now. This is how disconnected he is. Kanye's idea of oppression now is the fact that a French merchandising conglomerate doesn't fuck with him and didn't give him his own brand.
Right.
Like that's his idea of oppression now.
And
So like, that's how
give you royalties.
Right. That's how
even though they'll give you like, we'll give you 20, 30 million, but no royalties. So people are like, fam.
Well, I wouldn't take that deal either. That's the only
I
part.
understand it,
That's the only part I agree with about that.
I get it. I get that's why you left from Nike to Adidas, but that does not equate to real world issues. And regular people are not gonna be like, oh yeah, I too know what it looks like to not get royalties on a shoe. Like you still got paid. It wasn't like you weren't getting paid.
Right. I think that there's a couple of things that need to be addressed here. That pertains to how this all came to be, is that as much as we can point our fingers at Kanye West for the things that he said and the dumb shit that he's done over the last few years, we have to look at ourselves as a culture to understand that this is a man who, in my opinion, has been disconnected since the beginning of his career. He's always been radical. He's always been this type of dude that a lot of the genius things that he's done came from good surroundings and his desire to be so incredibly different from everybody else. And so while it rode with us for so many years, we've now tapped into the same Kanye that's always radically tried to be different with Jesus Walks and the pink polos, and always wanted to do something that everyone was like, nah, you probably shouldn't do that. So now he's in a place where he's completely disconnected from the people who said, nah, you shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But he's still the same Kanye, and we have given him the platform for the last 20 years. We have supplied him with the colossal God power. We have completely given him the fuel that has got him to this level. And so what needs to be done is, number one, we have to recognize that at the end of the day, this motherfucker's words are just words. You understand? He's not saying anything that a million other motherfuckers are saying right now. And it's a problem because he has the power. It's a problem because, hold on, let me finish. It's a problem because he has the power. Well, we gave him the power. And then to answer your question on whether or not the culture is done with him, just because the culture doesn't rock with him, and the may never rock with him again, Kanye West will never not be in conversations. It will always be, and right now is a prime example. If we were done with him, we wouldn't be talking about him.
Yep.
And so, right. And so, what needs to be done is we take the shit that Kanye is going through, and we recognize that mental health is a real thing. That we sometimes give somebody who has always appeared to be this genius, but he really just had a desire to be incredibly different, and then it just so happened that he was probably like 10 for 10 for a few years, and all this crazy shit he did ended up sticking and hitting a few years later. So now we give him this colossal platform, and then now when he's given the freedom to just like, oh shit, I ain't got no chains, now he's just gonna do some wild shit that only the crazy part is we think is wild because of the life that we live, and which is we rightfully have the right to be like, you're fucking tripping, bro, because you are disconnected from us. But at the same time, even the wild shit that he says about oppression and like not being part of the French house and stuff like that, he's not wrong to the capacity of it is the residue of how people view black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is another residue in the same capacity that getting the cops call on you. Now, the severity of how it affects our culture, not even remotely close.
I look at it to where I feel like at this point, it's what I mean by the culture needs to be done with them is that, at some point, we just need to stop watering the plant, which is Kanye West. I feel like the more we pay attention to this shit that he says, the more power his words have, and then the more crazy it gets. We just dropped this all the way. So, with that being said, y'all let us know. Y'all hop in the comments. Tune in next Wednesday. Let us know for all SquADD live debates. Is the culture down with Kanye West. And it's just me here now, and I'm out.
That was awesome.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
That was a good comment.
That was great.
What up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of SquADD Debates right here live on All Def Digital's Instagram. If you like the video, share it, and please do follow us on all social media platforms.